But he was supposed to spill it. It was supposed to be sprinkled. Message doesn't line up. There's a problem. Or is there? Go with me, please, to Luke 22:44. Luke, I now want you to use your fingers, please. Those of you who have a Texas Instrument, you can use that. Although nowadays, even the Texas Instrument might have the swine flu virus. So I don't even know how, because anything in Texas is highly suspect nowadays. Matter of fact, that idea about seceding from the Union may not be a bad idea after all. Can I hear a good amen? That's one way to quarantine the disease. Look, Daryl gets it. Luke 22:44. Luke 22:44. So let's see if we can get away from Christian theology, Chris, and see if Yeshua's sprinkling lined up with all the sprinkling in the Tanakh. Let's see if we can line everything up into one consistent message. Can I hear a good amen? Luke 22:44. And being in agony, he made tefillah more earnestly. This, of course, is in Gan Shemen, Gethsemane, Gan Shemen, the garden of the Shemen, the oil, the pressing of the olive oil. And his sweat became like gray drops of dam as he fell down to the ground. Put a number right there, number 1. Next to 44, put a number 1. Then turn with me, please, to Matityahu 26:63. Matityahu 26:63. Can I hear a good amen? I said a good amen. Amen. And Yeshua, in front of the Kohen HaGadol, kept his silence. And the Kohen HaGadol answered and said to him, I put you under oath before the living Eloha, and you tell us whether you are Moshiach, Son of the Almighty. Yeshua said to him, you have said it. Nevertheless, I say to you, you shall see the Ben Adam sitting at the right hand of Yahweh after this, coming in the clouds of the Shamayim. Then the Kohen HaGadol tore his clothes and said, spoke blasphemy. He spoke blasphemy. What further need do we have for witnesses? You have now heard his blasphemy. We continue. 66. What do you think? They said in answer, he's guilty of death. He said the sacred name, the impronounceable name. They spit in his face. They beat him up and slapped him around with the palm of their hands. When they beat him up, slapped him around with the palm of their hands, number 2. This is now the second time that he bled. Write down number 2.
Oh, wow.
Once in the Garden of Gethsemane. The second time when the high priest's servants beat him around. Number 2. Number 3. Yeshayahu 50:5. Yeshayahu. What else bled? His cheek bled. His forehead bled. What else bled? Yeshayahu 50 and verse 5. Don't look for the word blood, Wilbur. It's not there. But if somebody beats you upside the head and kicks you around, guess what? You're going to bleed.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, but remember, the pattern's got to fit. Remember? Remember? If Yeshua bled 6 times, guess what? The message changed. You follow what I'm saying? If everything was 7 times and Yeshua only bled 6 times, then the message had changed. See? Yeshayahu 50, and don't think the anti-missionaries don't know this either. Yeshayahu 50, and let's pick it up in verse 5. The Master Yahweh has opened my ear, I was not rebellious, neither did I turn away my back. I gave my back to those who smite, my cheeks to those who plucked off my hair. I hid not my face from shame and from spitting. His beard was pulled out of his cheeks.
Ouch.
That's blood number 3. Number 1, the Garden of Gethsemane. Number 2, when he was beaten in front of the high priest. Number 3, when his beard was pulled out right from his skin, and he gave his back to the smitters. That's number 3. Sorry? 55. Yeshayahu 50, verse 5 and verse 6. That's number 3. Number 4, Matityahu 27:26. When they pulled his beard, he bled. Matityahu 27 and 26. I mean, they pulled it out. They didn't just, 27, 26. Matityahu 27:26. And this goes right along with today's Parsha. They released Barabbas to them, and when they had scourged or beaten Yeshua with the cat of 9 tails, of course, they delivered him to be impaled. So we see that verse 25, the people, Matityahu 27:5, the children of Israel cry out for his blood. Verse 26, his blood is granted to them. They released Barabbas, the son of the Father, ironically, when he was really the son of the Father. Yeshua was the son of the Father. But ironically, the prisoner that was released was also called the son of the Father. And they scourged Yeshua right before they what? They impaled him. Number 4. Bleeding number 4. He was whipped and scourged on his back by the cat of 9 tails. Does it say blood? No. But when the Romans whipped you with a cat of 9 tails, it was designed to pull flesh off of your back. I can assure you, he bled. That was the 4th time that Yeshua bled. Go with me to Matityahu 27 and 29. Now, would this be speculatory if we didn't have the Torah? Yes, it would. But remember, the word of Yahweh cannot change. It is consistent. Matityahu 27 and 29. And when they had platted a keter of thorns, and they put it upon his head, a reed in his right hand, they bowed the knee before him, they mocked him, saying, Hail, Melech of the Yehudim. Verse 30, they spit at him. They took the reed and smote him on the head. Now, when they put the keter, the crown, the keter of thorns, on his head, obviously, he bled. Right? That's obvious.
He broke his skull cap.
Exactly. His skull broke, and he bled. Now, question is, why was it a crown of thorns? Well, many of you know the answer. Because the thorns are symbolic of the fall of Adam v'Chava. When Adam v'Chava sinned in the Garden of Eden, it says, Yahweh said to Adam, with thistles and thorns you shall bring forth bread from the earth, and the ground, instead of bringing fruit, will bring forth what? Thistles and what? Thorns. So Yeshua was literally carrying the curse of the fallen earth upon his head.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Okay, he was carrying many curses, including the 7-fold curse of Leviticus 26 upon the nation of Israel. He was reversing everything 7 times. So in order to have a 7-fold curse, punishment multiplied and then reversed, you have to literally shed blood not once, but 7 times. So he carried the keter of thorns, and of course they smote him on the cheek and on his head, which already had been bleeding, and the bleeding was more profuse. More profuse. That was the 5th time, the crown of thorns, carrying the curse of the fall of the earth. Not just the fall of man, but the fall of the earth. He was carrying and reversing that as well. Go with me to Matityahu 27:35. Matityahu 27:35. And they impaled him and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled what was spoken by the Navi. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture they did cast what? Lots. So obviously at verse 35 they impaled or crucified him. That is the 6th time that the Master bled for you because he loved you so much. And now we go to Yochanan 19:34. Yochanan. Is anyone enjoying?
Amen.
Yochanan. Thank you, Chris. Yochanan 19:34. And we see the final time. Yochanan 19:34. But that wasn't enough, so now the soldiers get in on the act. One of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side.